Welcome to Hopped Up on Security. This is a show where we talk a little bit about beer and a lot about security. And today we're coming to you from Tel Aviv, Israel, and I'm joined by Yinon Kostika, who's VP of Product at Adalon. Welcome, Yinon.
Hi, thank you.
So, Yinon, we're going to talk about really about customers that you've been talking to, the challenges that you're seeing or you're hearing from these customers as they're moving to cloud applications, as they're looking to secure these cloud applications. But first, I want to try a little bit of beer.
Sure.
So we have Malka, which is a wheat beer. Actually, they make a bunch of different beers. It's a brewery from northern Israel. Is it
one of the first boutique brewers in Israel?
In Israel, they've been around for what, about 10 years?
10 years.
And it's from, correct me if I'm saying this wrong, Yehiam Kibbutz, which is in northern Israel, right?
Correct.
All right, so let's give this a shot. I'll pour you a little bit first. So this is a wheat beer. I know they make about maybe half a dozen different beers. Well, let's give it a smell. Give it a cheers, and we'll taste a little bit.
Cheers.
It's really refreshing.
Yes.
This one is actually brewed with I think orange peel and coriander, and I can taste a little bit of the citrus in the orange. It's actually quite nice. It's probably nice in the hot.
Very different taste.
Very different taste. Nice in the hot Tel Aviv summer, probably, as you're sitting outside by the beach and enjoying a nice...
This is one of the most likable.
Definitely. Very palatable. So, Yinon, you talk to a lot of customers really across the spectrum, those that are kind of new to cloud applications and those that have existing cloud applications. What are some of the things that you're hearing from these customers?
So there are many different classes of customers when going into the cloud security space, and I think that there are major four issues that we keep seeing again and again. It starts with the visibility piece. What is going on in my cloud environment, either the sanctioned or the unsanctioned. Right.
And when you talk about sanctioned versus unsanctioned, you've got the unsanctioned or the customers with unsanctioned apps. They really haven't officially brought those applications on board, right?
Exactly. So in my business unit, I'm starting to use Dropbox or Box, and now my IT doesn't know about it. Yeah. So the IT wants to know about it and have a sanctioning process. They just want to know that it is being used.
And they want to know because there's likely very sensitive data, maybe confidential data. The reality is that they don't know what data exists in these applications.
Exactly.
It's a responsibility to secure that data.
Exactly.
Right?
So the IT department essentially wants to go through a process in which they take the most important critical cloud applications in use, and they go through a sanctioning process in which they review the terms of service and the way of use, right? Policies of use, and then it becomes a sanctioned application.
So they need to assess, as a first step, really need to assess the viability of that application before they can bring it on board and actually sanction
Correct.
it. And then visibility still applies as you look at sanctioned applications, right? So you've officially brought an application on board. How does visibility pertain to that?
Great. So we started using Google Drive, Box, whatever. And now you say, okay, dear employees, you can put your sensitive data there, but how do I know there is no employee just connecting to my most sensitive data drive, from an internet computer in Thailand during a vacation. Right.
So they have credentials. They can get to these applications. The cloud applications really almost promise the flexibility of access anywhere.
Exactly. So this is a huge advantage of cloud applications, right? Being able to access from everywhere, any device. So very accessible, productivity, etc. But you want to have your eyes on your SaaS, right? You want to be able to see have the visibility into the different type of activities, what's going on there. Yeah. Sanctioned or unsanctioned, both.
Gotcha. So, once you have that visibility, what are some of the next steps?
Yeah, so the number one, I think the number one case is actually the data protection. So you have your data there. It's critical for you, it's important for you, you want people to work on it, but you need to have the ability to protect this data. And when we go to data protection, it goes actually threefold in cloud applications. One, what am I uploading as a user to the cloud? What am I sharing from the cloud onwards? And what am I downloading, right? So if I have managed or unmanaged device, maybe I want to have different content allowed on each type of device and different trust level of the user.
Got it. Because you have devices that are managed where IT has the ability to dictate things like maybe disk encryption or make sure that the proper version of AV is available. and then the unmanaged, you have no idea what the status of that endpoint is. Or even more importantly, you don't know who owns it or where that device or where that data will go, after it's been downloaded.
Exactly.
Which is a huge risk.
Exactly. It's the same idea. So, and this actually brings us to the third point of the access. So you want to protect your data, and we help customers protecting the data upon uploading and sharing and downloading. But when dealing with download and you start having the different types of devices, you want to establish a trust level to the device, and then you go to the access level. And this is one of the most fast-growing problems that we see that needs to be addressed in the cloud space. So I'm using multiple cloud applications, and I want to have the ability to have control over the access, and not only the visibility to who's accessing from where, but also the ability to apply a different trust level throughout the session. Okay, so I can allow or prevent users from performing certain activities based on the trust level that was established upon access.
Got it. And so you want to look at things like who the user is, maybe the group or their role within the organization, the device that they're accessing from, location. There's a whole bunch of different factors that you can consider as you're establishing that trust level, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, and again with the cloud, the expectation of users is this level of flexibility or this assumption that you have flexible access, and they want to access from when they're on vacation or out and about in the field or from home or from grandma's house. They want to access from different devices, and we want to be able to support that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that cloud applications, so once you log in to the application, so you get a certain level of permissions. And cloud applications are doing a great job giving you the granular permission and role management, but it is not established upon access. It is established on the credentials that you provide anywhere, anytime, regardless of the device or the context.
Right.
So if I'm logging in from the Ukraine and I don't have an office in the Ukraine, and I know my employees are going there from time to time, maybe I don't want to allow the same level as from somebody accessing from my office.
That's right. So maybe the device or the location has a different risk assumption, and we want to be able to set policy based on those different parameters to make sure that we can support those use cases but still protect the data.
Exactly. And this brings us actually to the last piece, which is a huge concern in cloud security.
Well, I mean, threats in the cloud are much different than they are on-prem, right? So they look different. Attackers attack these applications differently.
Exactly. And we see more and more types of attacks that are, we call it cloud-based campaigns. They started from malware, like the usual suspect, like the Zeus, the Dyers, but we see more and more campaigns that don't require any malware, any software. It's just cloud-based. So phishing campaigns, end-to-end, no cloud, just compromised accounts.
So with a phishing campaign, all you need is a user credential or a set of credentials, and you're in, right? You mentioned access from the Ukraine. I mean, that could have easily been a phishing campaign. An attacker from the Ukraine has credentials, and it looks fine from a login standpoint. Legitimate login. And yet it's an attack.
Exactly. So you've got how can you differentiate between a traveling user and malicious access? So you can identify what we call velocity, for example, if it's a concurrent access from different locations. But if it's just an access out there, how would you identify that? So the anomaly detection engine that Adalom Labs maintain is really cloud-oriented anomaly detection.
So we're looking at, I guess, cloud-specific attacks and looking at these attack patterns and looking for these specific anomalies.
Exactly. So identifying how would an attack look like, right? So structuring it. How would a phishing campaign look like? So first, login, and then structuring it in a way that will allow us to identify that based on the activity and the visibilities that we created earlier on across applications. So this is one of the biggest pieces that Adalom provide to actually focus the attention of the IT and the security personnel on the right things.
Which is a huge help. Well, it sounds like there are a lot of different things that customers need to consider as they're looking at securing cloud applications. And it's not just about knowing what is being used, the shadow IT part, but really holistically thinking about things from end to end. Discovery, visibility into what's being used, visibility into how these applications that are sanctioned are being used, making sure that your data is protected, making sure that you have the right level of access to applications, and then finally looking at these unique threats and making sure that you stay protected. A lot of different things to consider. Well, let's take one more sip of beer. And,
cheers.
Cheers. Thanks very much for coming. This was a great conversation, Yinon. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Take a little sip of beer. Man, it's really refreshing. If you want to learn more about cloud access security brokers and how Adalom can help really protect your cloud applications, please visit www.adalom.com. And thanks for tuning in.